Okay. All right. We are the Incredible Critics. Incredible, not because we're great, but much like Frankie's ability to actually make the show, our credibility should seriously be in question. I am Ben Franco. This week, we are talking about our summer movie wager. Joining me is none other than Andrew Tuna, Dr. Thunder Moore.
I have more nicknames than I have friends.
Oh, we're just going to keep adding to it. Don't worry.
How's it going, Ben?
It's going. Frankie, Tim is seeing Avengers for the 18th time, and Frankie was supposed to be here, but got caught in traffic. And we refused to let him do the show from the car because it sounds horrible. And one of these days he's going to die. And he has a child on the way, so we can't let that happen.
Yeah, let's not.
Yeah.
For the child's sake.
Yeah, we're just gonna say no, Frankie, you're not allowed. Plus,
no.
It makes for a better show.
Oh.
This week we are gonna jump right in and talk about our summer movie wager. So the way that this works, you can play along too. I think you can still submit brackets, or submit your picks, but I don't think it'll count towards the leaderboards. But the website is thesummermoviewager.com, and here's how it works. We try to pick the top 10 movies of the summer based on domestic box office results. If we get number 1 or 10 dead on, we get 13 points. 2 through 10 dead on, 2 through 9 dead on, we get 10 points. If we're 1 spot away, we get 7 points. 2 spots away, 5 points. 3 points if it's anywhere in the top 10. And then 1 point, there are 3 movies that we get to pick that are dark horses that we get 1 point if it just makes the top 10. So we're going to go over our picks. And Tuna, I don't know if you remember from last year, the winner gets to pick
a movie
that the other people have to watch.
Oh, I remember the movie.
Yeah, that was one of the things that got Tuna on the show. Was as a listener, he decided to watch Barbie Super Video Game Hero after Tim won last year's summer movie wager.
I consider myself a pretty empathetic person, and misery loves company, Ben, so I had to join you all in your suffering.
Did you say a pretty pathetic person?
Yeah, that's probably the better wording.
So let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to go through our picks for the summer. Not surprising, at number 1, we all
Ugly Dolls.
picked. Yeah, Ugly Dolls. No, we all picked Avengers Endgame, which just passed 600 million domestically. I think it's at 621.
Real.
It hit 11 million. It hit 2 billion in 11 days internationally. It could be the first film to break $3 billion. I would not be surprised by that.
Let's let it happen.
Yeah. It's one of only 5 films, I think, to pass 2 billion, and it's done so faster than. Yeah.
Avatar. I just want Avatar to get knocked off that.
Yeah, Avatar is the top grossing film of all time at 2.7 billion. It took Avatar 45 days to reach 2 billion, and it took Avengers like 11 or 12. So
please pass it.
Well, go see it another 3 times.
I don't have that much time to commit to it. I've done my dues.
So then number 2, Tuna, you, Tim, and Frankie each had the same pick. What was your pick for the second film?
My second film is Spider-Man Far From Home. Still going to ride out that Marvel high, I think.
Now, contrasting to me, you put almost zero thought or zero research into your picks.
Correct. I was at work and you reminded me about it and I wanted to get it in on time. So I spent 10 minutes at work and just clicked on a bunch of crap, talked to some of my coworkers real quick. I was like, hey, what do you guys think? And then just threw it all together. So, yeah, probably not going to do so hot.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean it's anybody's game. I mean, I put a ton of research into it and I will probably lose. But I will say I think that there are two movies that will determine who wins and where they land on our lists. I think
Pokemon Detective Pikachu,
yes
one of them,
is one of them for
and
sure.
and and maybe The Lion King
I actually think
or Toy
Aladdin.
Story.
I
Oh,
think
Aladdin.
Aladdin. I think Detective Pikachu and Aladdin, whoever gets those right, that's my guess is who's going to win because I
Mm,
think those have like the
stopping power.
well, they have the biggest chance of either being like number 2 or number 8, right? And that's, so whoever gets those right would have that pick.
Good
So
point.
I chose for my number 2 pick Toy Story 4.
Interesting choice. And I can see kind of where you're coming from with it. And I'll let you go ahead and explain yourself.
So the reason why I chose it number 2, do you know how much Toy Story 3 made in the box office?
It made a killing.
$415 million.
But on the flip side, I believe that this movie, while people will enjoy it and go see it, nobody really asked for another Toy Story movie. And I
It's because
don't
you don't need to.
you
It's
don't
Toy
you don't
Story.
you don't need to, and it didn't need another one. We had a good closure. It had a great finish. I mean, I'm still gonna see it, but but I don't know if everybody will feel the same way we do, in that it needed another movie, and maybe that won't change anything about them going to go see it. But
I mean,
I don't
it's
know.
fair. It made 415 million. Spider-Man Far From Home, the reason why it's lower on my list, and we'll get there in a second, is that Captain Marvel, which followed, or no, I'm sorry, Ant-Man and the Wasp, which followed very soon at the same window as Spider-Man to Endgame, was Ant-Man to
But you're
Infinity War.
talking about Ant-Man as opposed to Spider-Man.
I mean, it's
Spider-Man is the
true.
most popular
Look,
comic
look,
book character.
agreed.
In,
What I'm saying is Ant-Man and the Wasp made 216 million. So that's 200 million less. So even if Spider-Man Far From Home makes 100 million more, it would still be 100 million short of Toy Story 3. So that's just what I'm basing it on.
Fair enough.
That's all I'm
Fair
saying.
enough.
That's all I'm saying.
That's a good assessment, I'd say.
Now, for number 3, all of us except Tim had the same pick of The Lion King.
Anya,
Oh,
Savannah,
don't.
Tim's gonna lose.
I'm so isolating that for any time we talk about the summer movie wager.
Oh no. What have
Yeah.
I done?
Tim picked Aladdin at number 3, which is, again, this is why I
Enough
say,
people are gonna like Aladdin. Gonna go see it.
see, I don't know. See,
Tobias Funke as the genie.
one of the things is that there are a lot of kids movies out this summer, like a lot of
True.
kids movies that are expected to do really well. So the thing is, some of them are going to be a flop, and I don't know which one it's going to be. And that's why I think if Tim gets Aladdin at number 3, I'm pretty sure he's going to win again. And then we're going to have to watch another Barbie movie.
Oh, no, please. Please.
But I picked The Lion King because The Jungle Book, which is kind of one of the only other movies we can base it off of, made 364 million. And I think that The Lion King is just as loved, if not more loved, than The Jungle Book.
Oh, I agree.
So
100%.
if it breaks that like 300 to 350 million, I don't know.
Not that this is any really indication of how successful a movie will be, but everybody I know who I've talked to about this Lion King movie says they really want to see it. I haven't met
Right.
anybody yet who's said, "Nah, I'm not going to go see that." And I
Yeah,
was
totally.
for a while until I saw the latest trailer, and I don't really think it's going to add anything to the story. But the visuals alone are so spectacular. I want to see it just for that.
Yeah, it looks like a shot for shot remake of the cartoon.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
That the CGI is so
The
impressive.
CGI is impressive. So for number 4, and it's really like 4 on that we're going to start having a lot of variety in our picks. For number 4, Tuna, what was your pick?
Pokemon Detective Pikachu. And that may be I may be overhyping it, but I've seen so much traffic and discussion online for this
Yeah.
movie. I think it's coming out at a good time for it. I think Pokemon is I mean, it saw a bit of a resurgence when Pokemon Go came out a few years ago, but it's still pretty big up there, both with our generation and with kids.
It's true.
And
And more so than that, it looks shockingly good, right? Like
it doesn't look like it should be, but it
on paper, Detective Pikachu is not a doable
exactly
movie. It's not a concept that works, but the trailer certainly makes it look like it does.
Right. Although I know some of my friends don't think it looks very good. Well, actually, just one friend. But everybody else I know says they think it looks great.
Frankie also picked Pokemon Detective Pikachu at number 4. Tim put The Lion King at 4, and 4 was where I actually put Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Next, at number 5, Tim put Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Frankie put Toy Story 4. And Tuna, you picked Godzilla.
Yeah, again, that was probably more of a rush pick from work. I have no idea if it's really going to do all that well. But again, a lot like Pokemon Detective Pikachu, I've seen and heard a lot of discussion online about it and a lot of marketing for it. So I think it could do fairly well. I think 5 is definitely too high in retrospect. Again, rushing through this thing, I wasn't putting a lot of thought into it, but
yeah, we've all texted each other about Godzilla 2. I can't be less enthused about this movie. I think it looks actively terrible. And I hope it bombs.
What? I still think it looks like a lot of fun in the same way
Ew, it looks
Pacific Rim
so
was.
dumb.
Did you enjoy
No,
Pacific Rim?
I did.
See, it's the same thing, just
It's
without
not the
robots.
same thing. It looks so lame. It looks so dumb.
One thing I do hate about it is that one line where the guy's like, "My God," and the other one's like, "Zilla."
Looks so
That
dumb.
part's so dumb. Zilla.
At number 5, I picked The Secret Life of Pets 2.
That could do really well, I think.
You
It could
know how
surprise us.
much
The first one made a lot. What was it?
$368 million, Tuna. I took notes, right? I told you I put
Not
a lot of
even
research.
good.
$368 million.
But it's talking animals and kids love it.
Here's the thing. Even if it makes half that, it's still almost at $200 million, which is a great domestic take for most movies.
Yeah, that was a good, solid middle of the road pick.
Yeah.
At number 5.
And now here's the thing. That could be the one kids movie that bombs and does like 100 million and then it's done. But I don't know, man. For the first one to do 368 million,
I've seen a lot of
insane.
marketing for that online too. They've been putting a fair amount of money into that.
Yeah. Number 6, Tim has Godzilla 2. I guess it's Godzilla 2. That's what the website has it listed as. Whatever. Godzilla. Frankie has an interesting take at Rocket Man.
He's a Rocket Man.
They've been pushing that. I don't know. I have a hard time seeing it get that high.
Yeah, I don't think it. I mean, Elton John's great and all, but I don't think he has the same kind of star power that Queen did.
Right.
I mean, the Bohemian Rhapsody did really well, but again, because it's Queen.
But it didn't even do that well, right? Like I think Bohemian Rhapsody did 216 million. So it's good, but it's not it's not crazy numbers, and I don't think Rocket Man will do that well. So I don't know. We'll see.
According to Box Office Mojo, the domestic total gross was 216 million.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. You had for number 6 Toy Story 4. So you think it'll drop pretty low?
I think it'll be around middle of the road. Probably should have put that above Godzilla 2. But again,
yeah. You put no research. I put a lot because I don't want to watch another video game. Barbie movie.
I forgot what was at stake, Ben.
Yeah.
There are literally dozens of us. Actually, not even dozen of us.
Number 6 was where I put Aladdin. Because again, the only things to compare it to are like the Jungle Book, again, 364 million. Cinderella, which is like one of the lesser known remakes or modern live action remakes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much that made?
No.
It was 200 million.
Really?
Yes. So even a bad one. So I'm like, man,
most forgettable one.
Right, the most forgettable one, the one that you had saw the least about.
That was the first one that they did though?
I don't know for sure. But even that one made 200 million. So even if again if Aladdin does worse than that, it still could be in like the 150 to 175 range. So
true.
Yeah, so it's like I said, Aladdin and Detective Pikachu, which was my number 7 pick, because I think that while Detective Pikachu has a lot of hype around it, I think more people are going to be like me, which say that looks really cool. I am not going to go see it.
Sucker.
I will wait for that to come out on Netflix. You know what I mean? I just think that it's not going to actually be cool enough for people to go decide to see. I could be wrong.
Just not being an early adopter. I get it. I understand.
Tim picked Toy Story 4, so even lower on the list than you did, Tuna. And then you and Frankie had the same pick.
Yeah. He ain't never seen a wager like this. Man, Blue Man Group going to come big into the box office this year at 7th place.
Yeah, Aladdin. You and Frankie had Aladdin at number 7.
I think I wouldn't surprise me if it did better, but I don't think it'll do all that well because of just all the negative initial
publicity. Yeah, I mean, at the same time, people want to see if they can turn it around. So
that's true. Bad publicity can be good publicity.
So, I mean, that's what I mean. So Tim has Aladdin all the way up at number 3. I have it at 6. You and Frankie have it at 7.
I mean, I'm not going to go see it.
So we'll see there. Next up at number 8. That's where you put The Secret Life of Pets 2.
Yeah, I think it has a pretty decent chance of doing really well, but like you said, it could also be one of the ones that bombs.
Yeah. Frankie has Dark Phoenix. I think he's reaching, man. X-Men Apocalypse only did 155 million.
Yeah.
And Dark Phoenix doesn't even look that good and doesn't even look like they're pushing it as much as that. So
sorry, Frankie. I can't go with you on that one, friend.
Tim and I have the same number 8 pick, which is Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
My God, I don't want.
Here's the thing. I agree with you wholeheartedly, but those movies make money.
See, the thing is, though, it's not actually a Fast and the Furious movie technically, so that's why I didn't have it up that high. Actually, I didn't pick it at all.
Yeah.
And maybe that was a mistake. I guess we'll see how much people want.
Here's the thing.
Spin-off movie.
Fast and Furious 6, 238 million. Fast and Furious 7 had the whole Paul Walker is no longer with us bump and was up to 353 million.
True.
The Fate of the Furious was back down to 226. But even so, you're talking possibly close to $200 million. That's a lot of money. Even if it took a hit from it not actually being a Fast and the Furious movie, you could still have it in, again, that 150 to 175 range. And that's, so that's what I had for my number 8 pick, as well as Tim. Next for number 9, that's where Godzilla 2 landed for me and Frankie, because again, I think that movie looks like trash and I hope nobody goes to see it.
Stop.
Looks so bad. Tim had The Secret Life of Pets at number 9. You had an interesting pick.
Yeah. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is it's a dark horse for all of you, but I think it might have a little bit more star power behind it.
It definitely has star power.
People love Leonardo DiCaprio, and I think this one could hit the same kind of marks that stuff like The Wolf of Wall Street hit. That's not I know it's not a Scorsese film, but
Quentin Tarantino is a solid filmmaker.
Right. The Hateful Eight didn't do all that great in the
it actually bombed pretty bad
box office, but it's also, I think, a much more niche genre that he went with that one, with the kind of Western feel. This one, I think, might do better.
It definitely has a star power, like you said. The thing is, Inglourious only made 120 million. Django made 162, so that would probably have it in the running. But then The Hateful Eight only made 54 million. So again, that disparity, what's it going to be? Is it going to be a Django? Is it going to be a Hateful Eight? Or is it going to land somewhere in the middle like Inglourious? It was too high for me to put it in my top 10, which is why I have it.
A bit of a risky pick. So
yeah,
I acknowledge that.
And then lastly, well, not lastly, because we have to go through dark horses, but then at number 10, you put John Wick 3.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hype built around this film based off of the first 2 being surprise hits. I think there's a fair number of action hits coming out this summer, and this is obviously one of them. But I guess we'll see if it could top Hobbs and Shaw or not.
Even with all of that hype, and I agree, there was a lot of hype around John Wick in John Wick Chapter 2. John Wick Chapter 2 only made 92 million.
Yeah, but that's 92 million, still pretty good for a fairly an action movie with a fairly small following.
No, agreed.
So that the following that grew even more since then.
Yeah. I don't know. That movie is looking like, to me, that movie is a movie that like tops out at like 125 million. Like that's its peak.
And that those may be the breaking the camel's back here for me. But you know what? Given it was 10 minutes of thought, I'll take it.
Frankie had Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. Tim and I picked Men in Black International. Here's the thing.
No, those are going to be garbage. It's going to be garbage.
Oh,
nobody's
100%. It's going to be garbage.
Nobody's going to go see that. It's played out. It's past its time.
Men in Black made 250 million. Men in Black 2, 190 million. Men in Black 3, 180 million. So I'm my complete guesstimate of this is that,
and they've gotten worse with each one,
is that it would probably be around 125 to 130. And that would land it right at number 10.
I need to remember that ticket sales is usually coincides with how trashy the movie is.
Yeah, we're not saying any of these movies are going to be good.
I'm kidding.
It is 100% that,
because I like actually the majority of these movies that we've picked, or at least I think I will like them if I haven't seen them yet.
Lastly, we have our dark horses. I guess I'll just go through like all 3 of them. So for me, I had Rocket Man because I do think it has that potential, but putting it
Sure.
on the top 10, I just couldn't see it. We all have, or you had it in your top 10. Frankie, Tim, and I all have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and my last dark horse is a major long shot.
Literally. A
Long shot. It's one of those comedies, like R-rated comedies, that I think has the potential to like just go out of nowhere and just like all of a sudden spike to like
yeah, Seth
150
Rogen.
million.
Yes, he. I could see that. Yeah.
That being said, it's only at like 9 million right now, so it's not looking promising, but that's why it's a dark horse. Tim had, like I said, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Ugly Dolls, and Child's Play.
Fair pick.
Yep, Frankie had Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Secret Life of Pets 2, way too low, and John Wick 3. So he's almost on that bandwagon with you, Tuna. And what were your dark horses?
I picked Dark Phoenix as one of the dark horses. I don't know. I don't have much faith in that, to be honest. But that was one of my rush picks.
No,
For
I mean,
sure.
I considered it for a dark horse for sure.
I suppose there's still a chance that it could do well, but
Yeah.
I don't think it will. Child's Play, again, because remakes, they tend to either make it or break it.
Right.
And I think Brightburn might be a surprise because it kind of rides on a lot of that superhero stuff, and horror movies tend to can do surprisingly well. It's a mix of both. So that I think that might be a surprising pick.
It could. I was like really intrigued by it. It's a very
I'm gonna go see it.
It's for superhero films and horror genre films, so that's that's a crossover that's enough to intrigue a lot of people.
If any listeners aren't familiar with it, it's basically if Superman as a child, it's not Superman, but the premise is basically if Superman as a child did not become a force for good, but instead became twisted and evil, and attacked everybody instead of helping everybody.
I mean, it is intriguing. I will give it that. It is very intriguing.
It's based off of an actual Superman storyline, I believe, too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I forget what the comic book line is called. Where that's basically what happens is like an alternate version of Superman where he's evil.
I don't think it's based off of Superman. I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't think it's actually based off of that. I mean, clearly it's like inspired by that, but I don't think it's based off of a superhero comic. But anyway, that is our summer movie wager. Please, as long as Tim doesn't win. That's all I really hope, is that Tim doesn't win.
Do you have any hints for what movie you might make us watch if you win?
I don't know. I don't know yet.
I've thought about it yet. All right.
No, I've thought about it. I have a list going in my head. Just don't know I just haven't quite nailed it. Maybe a Terrence Malick film. Have you seen a Terrence Malick film?
No.
Ooh, then I might have to pick that. You'll love it. Tim and Frankie will hate
it. Yes.
It's in English though. It's in English.
Oh, bravo.
Yeah.
Bold choice.
Yeah. Well, Tuna, where can people connect with us if they want to follow along with our summer movie wager?
You can find us on Facebook.com/IncredibleCritics, Twitter at 3CriticsPod, Instagram at Incredible Critics, and be sure to find us on iTunes and leave a comment, subscribe, and let us know what you think. We'd be happy to have you listen to us and join us along for our movie wager.
Just as long as Tim doesn't win.
As long as Tim doesn't win.
That's all that matters. That was really quiet, and then it came in hot.
That's what she said?
Sure.